28 months down, yeah, the industry's been bruised, but we're not here to fold, we're here to refuse. While others pause, we built the plays, now we're leading the charge in a brand new phase. You feel that tension, that's the pressure to grow. Hiring's messy, turnovers high and budgets low, but we don't panic, we adapt. We sharpen the edge and reload the map. This is the staffing playbook, strategy on tap. Steven brings the grit, G Money brings the slap. Forget the fluff, forget the spin. We give you plays that actually win. From the break room floor to the boardroom seat, we've walked the walk, now we bring the heat. CDLs, forklifts, line leads, and execs. We place the best and fix the wrecks. Insight, hustle, leadership bold. No safe takes, just the truth told cold. Wanna scale your team, wanna close that gap. We got the data, the story, and the roadmap. So turn it up, lock it in. This is more than a podcast, it's a win. This is the staffing playbook. Let's get to work, it starts right now.
Welcome back to the Staffing Playbook podcast, where we turn real-world staffing challenges into winning plays for your business. I'm your host, Steve Farrell, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Geneviève Bourgeois. How are you today, Steve?
I am fantastic. This episode today has got the most registrations we've ever had in podcast history to date. So as you can imagine, I'm pretty excited.
We are so excited to have both Beth and Josh here. We've been talking about this for how long? A couple of weeks at least?
A couple of weeks
now, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so before we introduce our guests, I want to hit on the topic. We are going behind the curtain. We want to know what MSPs really think about staffing agencies. This is a tell-all. This is part one of a three-part series. The next two will have two groups of HR guests doing a tell-all when it comes to staffing agencies. So I want to kick things off with these two powerhouse guests today. First, we have Josh Moskoviz. I'm saying his name terribly there. He's the vice president. I got it?
You got it.
Yeah. Vice President of Client Services at AHSA, part of the Trio Workforce Solutions. And then I've got Beth Fenske here, Director of Supply Solutions at RightSourcing by Magnit. Welcome, the two of you.
Thank you so much. It's a joy to be here.
We're excited to have you here. So over the next 45 minutes, we're going to get brutally honest about how MSPs see staffing agencies, the good moves that earn trust, the bad habits that raise red flags, and the ugly missteps that can cost you your future business. Stick around for actionable insights you can use to become a preferred partner, not just another vendor. I want to expand the introductions of both Josh and Beth. Josh, you come here with over 18 years in healthcare staffing. You have built, grown, and implemented MSP programs across the country. A retired musician, so that's what I've heard, SoCal outdoor enthusiast. You bring a unique mix of industry wisdom and real-world experience to the table. Josh, did I miss anything?
No. And on the musician part, that opening theme song is a banger. That is the first time I've heard that. So
thank you. I wish I could take credit, but I had a little help from AI, but some inspired prompting there.
The G Money with the slap. That cracks me up every single time.
So good. So good.
It's because AI can't figure out how to pronounce my name.
AI cannot say her name.
Oh, but I love it. I mean, how appropriate.
Yeah.
Right?
It cracks me up every time I watch it. I'm just like, oh.
All right. Now, and then Beth Fenske. So she comes here with over 30 years of healthcare experience, with the past 5 years focused on staffing and managed service MSPs operations. As a former owner and operator of a nurse staffing agency, she offers a unique perspective, advocating for suppliers with deep understanding and empathy. And you're going to learn that today. She's a passionate supplier advocate and mentor, highly engaged in diversity development, one-on-one agency consulting, joint commission certification support, staff training and development. She is deeply partnership driven with a steadfast commitment to collaboration, growth, and mutual success. Beth, welcome. what an impressive resume, both of you. And we're excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much. This is going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. I know all of you watching are a little nervous, but also anticipating, what these two are about to share today, the good, the bad, and the ugly. At the end of the day, this is the Staffing Playbook. We want to give you the playbook of what it looks like to have a successful partnership with your MSP and VMS partners. And what better guest today than to really spill the tea here. So Josh, Beth, Genevieve, are you guys ready just to jump into this?
Absolutely. Let's go.
Take us play by play.
Play by play. So I have an icebreaker question here. I'm going to start with you, Beth. In one sentence, what's the first word that comes to mind when you hear staffing agency?
Partner.
Ooh, I like that.
I don't exist without them. So the better they can communicate and deliver and be my true consultative partner, the more I want them engaged.
Guys, she's already given you what you need to hear. Partner. I love that. Josh, how about you? In one sentence, in just first word that comes to mind when you hear staffing agency.
Well, Beth stole the first one, so I'm going to go with collaborator.
Collaborator.
I like that.
That's
so
good.
In a vendor neutral model like we do, the staffing vendor partners are essential to the success of our programs. We're not an agency. We need the agencies. We need the correct partners to ensure success in our programs. And that's a collaboration between ourselves and the partners and the client partner.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Well, before we get into the nitty gritty, I want to start with just the kind of the bad and the ugly. And one of the first questions I have, and we'll start with you, Josh. Describe the last time an agency partner's actions forced you to suspend them. I've been part of that. I've been suspended by an MSP. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, Beth and Josh. But walk us through what went wrong. How could it have been prevented?
It's such bad form for an agency to just try to sneak one by the MSP, and not even just the MSP, but the client. Foundationally, everybody that works in this industry, our goal is the best patient care experience, right?
Right.
You're just setting fire to that by doing a move like this. So they were suspended as a result of that.
Wow, that's really unfortunate.
Now, there was a silver lining recovery to it, which I will give both companies credit for stepping up to fix the problem, which I think comes back to the collaborator comment that we kind of led off with. But yeah, I'm going to classify the move as ugly on the front end.
Got it. Okay. That's a great start to the show. Beth, how about you?
I'm just like, ooh.
I'm going to build off of Josh's response here a little bit. The relationship, and this is a relationship business, but the relationship between an MSP and our partners has to be built on trust. When there's no trust, there's no relationship. You basically remove yourself from the equation when you break our trust. So a situation with us recently, and thankfully there were some extenuating circumstances, but one of the worst things that you can potentially do is alter a candidate's resume. We received a falsified resume. A lot of conversation back and forth. We happened to have the original resume already on file. The candidate had already been submitted. We identified it. We went back to the partner. Yes, this was a rogue recruiter. And, we all manage many people beneath us, and we can't expect to be able to monitor their every move. Credit goes to the supplier. Very, very swift action, retraining, remediation, acknowledgement. They were a fantastic partner. But again, their brand, that partnership took a significant hit in the trust department.
Yeah.
That's going to carry longer than the short-term suspension. You know, building it back takes more than a little bit. It's not promises. You have to earn that back, and that takes time.
And so here's the thing, like back in my like recruiting days when I ran a 360 desk, I had some management go and be like, there's nothing wrong with embellishing or enhancing a resume because I was doing like I was doing IT staffing. And I'm like, do you think I want to sit here? This was before we had Chat GPT. Do you think I want to sit here and go and rewrite someone's entire resume? No, I'd rather just be honest. But there were times where other people, they were like the rogue recruiters. And they would go and do this. And that's like, oh, that person doesn't actually have X, Y, and Z experience in this. And I actually had a very similar situation with one of my like coworkers at the time. They went through what you went through. And it was awful. And then on top of that, like, I mean, how do you get paid? Commission. Okay. They ended up getting that taken back for that placement because it was a lie.
And to identify just a little bit of context here, Josh and I both support healthcare staffing. There's a significant differentiator between commercial staffing and healthcare staffing.
Yeah.
There's probably a little bit more leeway on the commercial side for embellishment. On the healthcare side, there is none.
No.
They're just point blank. There is none. It's pretty black and white. You either have the skills, you have the experience, and it's recent within the time frame, or it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not, that's okay. That doesn't mean that you're not going to find another position. It's just not this position. And the recruiters that are focused enough to understand that tend to be very, very successful. But at the end of the day, it's all about trust. That's a big thing for me, is trust with my partners.
Yeah.
I think it also comes down to it's really a simple concept of look at the bigger picture versus the fill and bill what's right in front of you mentality. And to Beth's point on this, like as you're building a partnership with, whether it's with an MSP like ourselves or like RightSourcing or with a health system directly, your overall growth as an organization is not based on the today. It's today, it's tomorrow, it's a month down the road, it's a year down the road, it's 10 years down the road. And if you're not in that headspace, it's probably not going to go the best for you.
No, I just keep thinking to myself, okay, what would motivate a rogue recruiter to embellish someone's resume, put things on there that never happened, experiences, maybe credentials, and or endorsements. But listening to you, John Viev, it's like, you know, I think a lot of that comes at the management level too. It's like, just do what you have to fill the order. They're a good fit. They're 70%, you know, whatever that's going through their head. And so sure, there's rogue recruiters out there. But my guess is a lot of that might come from that frontline manager that's giving the direction and saying, it's okay. You know, we'll deal with it if they catch on. But that's pretty ugly, Beth.
That's the long-term brand damage is really significant. You know, you may be chasing that commission today, but what you're going to lose. You know, one of my favorite mentors always told me when looking at a situation, is the juice worth the squeeze? And I use that comment all the time. And this is a really great example of this juice just absolutely wasn't worth the squeeze. They're going to be coming back from this for quite some time. Yeah. Again, kudos to the organization, the actual supplier. They took very, very swift, very decisive, very comprehensive action, which is great. but sometimes I'm sorry doesn't fix it.
Yeah, it's interesting with the you said the agency took comprehensive action, and I'm curious between the two of you, when someone does have, you know, an intentional service failure, maybe, you know, maybe it wasn't as an organization, but the rogue recruiter in this story, how do you look at those situations where, you know, a rogue recruiter embellishes a resume and then the organization takes swift action? Do you put a lot of stock into that, you know, and give them the benefit of the doubt, or what do you typically do?
You want to go first, Beth?
I want to jump on this one because this is one of my favorite things. I don't want to work with an agency that's never fallen down. Our biggest agencies that have fallen flat on their faces for delivery issues, for communication issues, it's not the fact that they failed. It's how do they rebuild? How do they respond? That is a testament to their character, their resilience. Those are the agencies that I look for. Those are the agencies that we as an organization will prioritize, because those are the organizations that are truly committed to the long-term partnership. That's a signal to me of this is somebody that we want to work with, because they can come back. Nobody can say that they've never made a mistake. Nobody can say they've never fallen down. It's how you recover, rebuild. That's everything about the character of the leadership, management, and the organization as a whole.
That reminds me of a saying. It's not failure; it's failure to respond. So you can have failures, but if you fail to respond, then that's a true failure.
I'll add to that. We have a saying here called "recover brilliantly." If hopefully that person's watching, they know who they are. You know, it's super easy to be accessible and visible when things are going right. And when you have a whole bunch of candidates out and you're close to booking them and everything's groovy, it's totally fine. Like the rubber meets the road when things go bad, when things go south. And there are companies out there that will just hide their head in the sand and hope that, well, if you ignore it, it'll go away, right? And agencies, if you're saying I don't do that, not 100% buying it, because we've all run into it at some point. Everybody's done it at some point. They just want to get out of this situation. I get it. But Beth is right. How you recover brilliantly from your shortcomings. One, it makes you a better partner in the long run. Two, it makes you a better person, a better human in the long run. Like, if we can't learn from our mistakes, what can we do? Nobody's perfect.
Yeah. So backstory here, Josh, you used to be an agency as a client of Beth. Is that right?
That is 100% correct.
So Beth, did Josh have some failures from time to time? Did he do anything that, you know, made it tough to work with him and his agency?
Spill that tea, Beth.
All right, so I've got to be honest. One thing that Josh and I share to the nth degree is that we are both very passionate about what we do. And with that comes this sense of the people around us should be doing the right thing the right way because it's the right thing. That can translate positively or negatively. And sorry, Josh, you knew I was going to bring this up. There was one point in time, Josh was very passionate, and his communications with our teams was becoming borderline aggressive. not that he was necessarily 100% wrong, but it was the delivery. And it led to, and hopefully any supplier that supports RightSourcing will absolutely state, supplier partnership is the first one to call and do a happy dance when there's a win. But we are also the first ones to call when there's a problem, and it's, let's figure this out together. Let's fix it. But then there's when Beth has to make the call. And that's when it's now escalated and there's a problem.
And that escalated all the way up to Beth.
And
what did you do, Josh?
And it's, Josh, your agency is fantastic. You do an amazing job. Our teams don't want to work with you because you're being a jerk. You're being aggressive. You're being unprofessional. Right now, I just need you to sit down and be quiet. Just deliver. Don't do this right now. We need to break. We need to have a reset to the communication, or there's going to be long-term damage.
Yeah.
Now, to Josh's credit, he comes back to me and he says, your program manager is being a jerk. They're not communicating. They're not doing the right thing. And he was correct. So, that works both ways.
Mm-hmm.
But what made our relationship work is the fact that he was open to being coachable, to recognize. And again, he recovered brilliantly, because after that break, that reset, the communications then became on point, professional, and that was exactly what we needed to continue to grow together.
And so that goes back to your whole point with building a partnership and everything else. It's trust in a relationship, but communication is key. So it sounds like you had to go and communicate, hey, Josh, good, bad, ugly. He had to go and communicate it back, but then you all were able to reset. And now, look, we have you here.
Absolutely. Communication is the absolute foundation of everything that we do every day. If you communicate clearly, consistently, early, 90% of the issues that agencies have wouldn't exist. I can't advocate for you if I don't know what the issue is. I can't fix it if I don't know that there's a problem. So use your tools, use your resources. Tell me, over communicate. I would rather hear from you every day than not hear from you until it's a Chinese fire drill.
Yeah.
I said that to Stephen once, and I've regretted it ever since, because he just over-communicates.
It's true.
Well, and it's I think what it all really comes down to is like real, transparent, and honest communication. I mean, the story that Beth tells, she's told several times, so I was braced for it, so that's totally okay. I've shared the same story, truthfully. Like I've always viewed there's something more when I was with an agency that I could be doing to be a better partner. If I'm not the number one supplier, what do I need to do to become the number one supplier? Which is such a cliche line, and my apologies for throwing it out in the first 20 minutes of this
Look, we
podcast.
all say it. We're all guilty of it.
Exactly, but I'm lying if I've never used that line before. So let's just put it out there and keep it real. But if you can't be real and you can't be honest, I mean, there's just so much like used car lot lingo in the staffing industry, whether it's healthcare or commercial or non-clinical or whatever. It's just, it's so gag worthy. It sucks. Like, be real, be honest, like build, collaborate, like we're all in it for a common good. Just be real about it. And like, also, if you're going to dish it, be able to take it. So to Beth's point of the story, she's like, I'm going to call this dude and play his own game back at him. And he's either going to be able to hang, or this partnership is going to be probably on thin ice.
Yeah.
Am I wrong, Beth?
No, Nope, you're right.
So, to her point, the open and honest communication, come back to third time we're saying recover brilliantly. I'm totally here for it. Recover brilliantly and just build that partnership. It's all about the bigger end goal of everyone being successful together.
I'm sure that was hard, though, to get that feedback from Beth initially. I'd imagine that was a hard pill to swallow.
No, believe it or not. No. Maybe I'm too self-aware.
Back to the point where you just said transparency is essentially key.
Yeah.
She was transparent with you.
100%. Like, for my persona, be real, come at me that way. I'll respond.
I think delivery also plays a big point in that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It wasn't that Josh's phone rang and, hey, you're being a jerk, you need to back off. It was, okay, what's going on? This isn't the person that I'm used to working with. This isn't the way that you present yourself. What's going on? Where's the issue? Because we have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, again, the end result is we came out a stronger partnership, not just Beth and I.
Very, very much.
Myself, the agency, RightSourcing as a whole. Beth and I were on the phone for an hour and 20 minutes that day. I know exactly what time, what it was about, who it involved, etc. But
you were wearing, where the sun
exactly.
was.
Well, it was the pandemic. It was the pandemic time, so it was very rough close at that point. But from this you grow, and for agencies out there looking to grow their footprint and their partnership with the whether it's vendor neutral or an agency led, if you decide to go down that road, whatever, it's you're building that trust in that partnership. Like, you're going to get that call when, hey, we have a need, we're struggling on, like, what can you do? Like, we're going to have such a better partnership and relationship, and everybody's going to win and grow from it. So
yeah.
We could do a whole episode on this topic. Stephen, well, I know you got more to talk about. So
yeah, we might turn this into multiple episodes.
With the audience here being the agencies, this is something that agencies should look for in an MSP. Look for somebody who is willing to engage in those challenging conversations. And how do they deliver it? Is there finger pointing? Is there accusations? It's you suck? Or is it, hey, wait a minute. How can we help you work through this to be a better partner?
Yeah.
Not every MSP is a good partner.
So just to kind of break that down really quickly for everyone watching this. Okay. When you're looking for agencies and MSP partnership, it's like you need to figure out who's willing to engage. All right. How do they communicate and their delivery? And also, it sounds like there should be more of a solution-based conversation as well. Correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you nailed
100%.
Yeah.
I take notes.
You guys are giving away the playbook too soon. Okay. I have two more questions on the bad and the ugly. Okay. So this has been really fun.
We're only going to get through the bad and the ugly today.
I know. So
we'll keep it on course. I know we have a lot to do here. We'll keep it on course.
Yeah.
So I think it was Beth, you mentioned recently one of these experiences you had where they skipped to the MSP for a placement. And I'm curious, and this is a question for both of you. We'll start with Beth. What's the most tone deaf excuse or sales pitch, whatever you want to call it, that you've heard from an agency trying to bypass the MSP and going straight to the client?
It's always the same old song and dance. We can give you better talent cheaper. But what these agencies that try and do that don't realize, RightSourcing as an organization, we have 3,500 agencies that support our work with our clients. The quality of talent that provides access to, one agency can't even begin to think that they can compete on the same playing field. As far as cost, They may take a hit on 1 or 2 placements, but that's not sustainable for us because of our depth, because of our scope. I would much rather bring the agency in and let them win through our program than to have them try and go around and lose their shirt, because they're going to get that 1 or 2 placement below market value. But then when they're coming up to market value, they just can't compete.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding what is the landscape of your client, what is the landscape of the MSP that you're trying to go around, because there's a lot of times you're going to hurt yourself again and hurt your brand so much more than the value of that 1 or 2 placement.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's really good. How about you, Josh?
Pretty similar to that. The other line that typically goes out that's rather humorous is the, oh, well, the MSP fee is just way too high and our margins can't support it.
Might be valid in some cases.
Well,
that goes directly to not every supplier is a good fit for every client.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, Stephen, I know where you're going with that, but and humor me on this.
We will.
When you sign up, when you sign up for an MSP, at least I will say from the AHSA Trio Workforce Solutions seat and the RightSourcing seat, because I was a supplier to RightSourcing, you know the vendor fee you're signing up for. Your gross margin calculators build that fee in if you're paying attention. So you're already taking account for what is affectionately referred to as a cost of doing business.
Mm-hmm.
So using that line and then coming with whatever bill rate it may or may not be, is that really effective? Does that make sense in the long run?
Yeah, I like how you put it. It's the cost of doing business, and the way Beth put it as well is, okay, well, maybe you're just not a qualified agency for the job, right?
Sure. I think that comes back to our recover brilliantly comment of perhaps you learn and adapt and can become a productive supplier. Playing devil's advocate there.
And you know, that's one of the beauties of working with an MSP. There is no right and wrong business model. You know, anybody who's working on the bill rate model, your margins are your margins. If you're a small mom and pop shop, you can have razor thin margins because you don't have overhead, you don't have this, you don't have that. You can pay a higher pay rate with a lower bill rate.
Yeah.
That's great. As you grow, those margins grow because you now have more overhead. So that's the beauty of an MSP is we have space for everybody. You don't have to be cookie cutter. You don't have to, there is no set rules. Once you're qualified, then it's up to you to determine, is this a good client for my setup as an agency? Does this work for the way that our organization operates?
Yep.
That's up to you. You have choices, and it's up to you to make that determination and that decision.
Yeah.
And so, Stephen, you've heard me say this so many times before, and because I took a sales and negotiating class and all that other stuff. All right. But no deal is better than a bad deal. And you have to make sure, especially when you are in these partnerships and you're working with each other and you're collaborating, that you're both working in a good, cohesive way. And if you're not, then sorry, I can't do it. Because if not, it's just going to cause too much stress. It sounds like you dealt with a lot of that.
I have.
Okay.
And I coach a lot of suppliers through this process. Again, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is this a good fit? And there are some that are, and there are some that aren't. Knowing your own organization well enough to make that determination, that's going to be the differentiator between does it work or does it not.
Yep.
Josh, when you were on the agency side, I know there were several clients that it just didn't make sense for you to support. Whether it was a geography, a skill set, a MSP fee, a bill rate. It's not collecting logos. If you're going to be intentional and strategic, there's a million different factors to consider. Is this a good business move for my agency?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crystal clear.
All right. I want one more question before we move into more of the roadmap of how agencies can, work with MSPs and some of the best practices. I want to start with you, Josh. I want you to finish this sentence. If every agency always did blank, 80% of downstream client escalations would vanish.
That's tough. Oh, come on. The filler just jumped in my head before he even finished reading.
Should we have Beth answer that first? Beth answer that first.
Beth, take it away. We'll give Josh.
Communication.
Oh, that was the easy answer, though.
Oh.
And so I knew that's what you were going to say because that was the first word that came to my mind.
Right.
And if an agency is going to communicate clearly, early, you're 3 weeks from start and you haven't been able to connect with your candidate for 2 days. Tell me. Reach out to your contact. Say, I'm not pulling them. I'm not saying that we have a problem, but I'm saying it's iffy. Okay? Give your MSP partner the chance to create a safety net. And it may never go anywhere. But if it does, you have saved your organization. So that's the easy one for me. But Josh, take it a little bit deeper. I know you like to think on a different level.
This might be controversial. I'm going to say if every agency always did the right thing.
Love it.
80% of downstream client escalations would vanish. How's that?
That's pretty good.
110%.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
And the right thing is in every category.
Yeah, look, communication is absolutely the go-to answer. I just wanted to I needed the extra minute or two there to get a little deeper on that. So thank you, group.
We got you.
I think you're absolutely right, though, Josh. If agencies apply their culture and their character to their day-to-day delivery, I agree. Escalations and things wouldn't exist because they would stop before that.
Yeah. All right. I know we're already like 40 minutes in, and we're going to go through these a little bit faster, but I want you to take your time on your answers because we're going to get into the good. We're going to get into the playbook, the roadmap. So let's start with you, Beth. When you're approving a new agency partner, what's some of those, let's call it 3 boxes, maybe it's 1, maybe it's 5, but what are those boxes they must absolutely tick?
Number 1 is they've got to have focus. Any agency that walks in and says, I can do everything for everyone, you just relegated yourself to the round file because you can't. And I don't want you to. So you've got to have focus. Tell me specifically what you do really well. Number two, they've got to have the infrastructure to support the volume. Meaning, they've got to have a dedicated account manager. They've got to have recruiters who are familiar with the terminology and the roles that they're going to try and fill.
Yeah.
If you don't know what the industry standards are, if your recruiters don't know what questions to ask a candidate, you're dead in the water before you even get to start. And I think probably the final one for me is coachability. You've got to be open and willing and say, you know what? Tell me what you need as my partner so that I can provide that to be productive. Those are probably the top ones that I look for in a partner that's going to come in to our programs.
All right. So focus, infrastructure, coachability.
Yep.
It's good.
Crystal clear. Love it.
Josh?
I'm going to use a story from SIA last year. So had an agency the year prior to the one this past November corner me, give me the sales pitch, et cetera. Exactly. I saw the eye roll.
Sorry.
It's
totally cool. I'm here for it. All good. So nothing differentiated them. So I used the industry standard. If you give me your card, I'll let you know if there's an opportunity. Knowing that I don't make the vendor decisions, but I communicate with the vendor team. So, et cetera. Same company finds me in November, corners me again, says, what do we need to do? Said, all right, don't tell me you do everything. Focus on a niche that's going to get my attention. So they rattle off 2 or 3, and I'm like, no. Then they say the one that I say, stop. Talk more about that. And we had a 10-minute conversation. Our vendor relations team happened to be there this year. They were not the year before. So I said, hold that, picked up my phone, called our vendor team and said, you have 5 minutes to meet with this vendor. They hit this service line that I know we need vendor help on right now. And they said, we're literally walking in the door to the hotel. Where do we find you? That agency was signed within 2 weeks.
Wow.
So, moral of this story ties back to Beth's point. You don't do everything, but what do you do well? Because that niche might be just what, whether it's myself or Beth or any of our other competitors, might be what they're looking for. And it might get you through the noise, as we like to refer to, because, and I can only imagine what RightSourcing's wait list looks like right now, but our wait list, again, to our programs, and this is not humble brag, this is just a reality, it's massive. The industry is in a weird spot right now, and everybody's looking for more business. What differentiates you from the crowd? When I was coming up in the agency world, and I'm not trying to make this about me, but just use as an example, I was working for a small company that nobody had ever heard of. What was going to be my differentiator? I found that one thing and I rode that as far as I could to open up as many contracts as I could and build from that. You always need a building block and a starting point to get to the next level. So find your starting point and take it from there.
It's really good. I didn't even realize it makes sense. You guys have such a large waiting list of vendors that are trying to get approved. And so to your point, Josh, you got to break through the noise. Like, okay, he had 10 minutes with you, told you these are the segments they specialize in. You're like, nope, next, we got 1,000 of those. And then you said the one and you're like, pause, tell me more. And then you brought him in and it's, you literally walked him to the front of the line.
Yeah.
And
it was go ahead.
Oh, no. Well, here's something I'm picking up from both of you. Having that like infrastructure, but those dedicated, like niche, like educated people who know the industry, who know what they're saying specifically when it comes out, like anesthesiologists or something else like that specific knowledge where they can actually talk about it. Like, I don't know.
But to take that one step further, I will caution every agency out there. Don't try and throw out a service line if you don't have the knowledge and the information to back it up.
Bingo.
Because if you try to tell me you do something and you can't have that informed, knowledgeable conversation, you just relegated yourself to the round filing cabinet.
Yeah.
Because that goes to trust, that goes to credibility. If I don't believe what you're saying, you're done. All the sales pitches in the world don't matter at that point.
Yeah. All right. I know both of you guys we're coming up on time. Do you guys have time for a quick rapid fire lightning round just more of the good, the playbook?
Absolutely. Real quick.
Okay. So if we'll start with you, Josh, and we'll just do one sentence answers here. If you could clone one habit from your best agency partner and give it to everyone else, what would that be?
If we have a conversation with you about an opportunity to grow your footprint within our MSP programs, go all in. We're not telling you that for no reason. There is one particular partner that took that and ran with it to a level that I only dream of seeing from our entire panel. And they were the number 3 vendor for Q1 out of nowhere. And I mean, they rocketed up a lot of spots. And all they did was follow the direction of, this is a program where if you focus your efforts, you will reap the benefits from it. And they did. I know it sounds super simple. Sometimes it is.
Just go all in.
Go all in.
Beth, how about you? One habit.
Build your relationships. This is a people business. We manage people. I tell suppliers all the time, your account manager needs to know not only the name of our program managers, they need to know how many kids they've got, what's their dog's name, where did they go for the weekend. You need to be a person and be humanized.
So
people
underrated.
Don't do business with businesses. People do business with people. Make yourself somebody, not just something.
Bravo.
Yeah. Josh and I are on the same page.
Yeah, certainly. And it sales reps, organizations, they just miss that. They think an email, a campaign, something is going to replace that. And it helps, but it doesn't replace it. Be a human. Okay.
Be a
Josh.
human.
Yeah, be a human.
Go all in and be a human.
Yeah. It's pretty simple.
Most underrated metric. Submittal to interview ratio, first week attrition. What's the most underrated metric in your mind, Josh?
On time starts.
Ooh, on time starts. Like that.
All day.
Beth?
For me, it would be pre-MSP rejection rates. If you're submitting candidates that I can't even shortlist, you're wasting my time, you're wasting your time, and you're throwing spaghetti at the wall. You're damaging your brand more so than if you did not submit at all.
I'm sure both of you look at that pretty closely, don't you?
Yeah. There's definitely some companies that are well known for the send hundreds of files and just hope that like 5% of them stick.
Yeah. All right, 2 more. Automated AI screening, friend or foe? Beth?
Commercial, it's fine. Healthcare, not going to work. You
Ooh.
cannot take a nurse out of New York and she's been working in low socioeconomic, hard area and place her in a hospital in Beverly Hills. There's too much soft skills, personality, delivery. You're both RNs. You're both BSNs. That's great, but you are not interchangeable.
Because there's different types of bedside manner depending on where you are. Okay, that makes
There's
sense.
different bedside manner. There's different patient population. The same title at two different hospitals can mean very, very different things. It's fine for screening. Do they have the license? But when it comes to everything else that is included in healthcare, AI is going to miss the boat.
Yeah.
What do you think, Josh?
I slightly disagree.
Okay.
I think used in the correct format, and so much of AI is still very, very new, and how it's utilized, not just in the healthcare workforce space, but in life in general. There's opportunity if it's used right. What does used right look like? That's a moving target. That's still being determined. But I think there's a reality of AI is here and not going anywhere. So how can it be maximized to not fall into a situation like Beth is describing? Because she's not wrong. But how can we avoid that pitfall and make it for the greater good, maybe in a way that streamlines things from a process perspective?
I love that. I think there's a place. I think it will play a role. I don't want there to be a perception where it's going to take over or replace the current process. I think it can be a wonderful additional tool, streamlining, creating efficiencies. But I have to say, from my perspective, I think it will always require that additional level of human interaction to evaluate some soft skills, just specifically in healthcare.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. It's at the end of the day, it's a tool. At what use case, that's yet to be determined. Josh, it's a moving target, like you mentioned, but certainly you don't want it to fully replace the human element of what we do. Although a lot of people are going to try. Okay, last question, and we'll start with you, Josh. In 30 seconds, give one commandment every staffing agency must follow to thrive in an MSP program in 2025. So start with thou shalt. I'm just kidding.
Thou shalt not call a client around an MSP you have signed with already, for it violates the contract and you may not be able to support that client going forward.
Ooh, yeah, that is certainly in the top 10 commandments. I've seen it.
I bet that's like at least number 2. I have to wait for Beth.
Yes.
And you're going to sense a big theme here. My commandment would be, thou shalt communicate clearly, concisely, and often.
Love it. Well, you two, this has been so fun. I know we went way over on time and you're late in your next meetings, but I know the audience really appreciates it. I want to start with Josh. Thank you. Where can people find you? I've got your website right here on screen for those that are watching.
Yep. So www.ahsa.com. If you're a vendor looking to join the panel, you will find a area that you can click on and fill out an application. The team will follow up with you if there is an opportunity that matches your services.
Awesome. Thank you. And they can find you on LinkedIn, both of you.
Yes.
By your first and last name.
Yes. My full name that is only used when my mom is angry at me. So I'm Joshua Moskoviz.
Got it. Thank you, Josh and Beth.
Thank you, Josh.
And I can be found on the screen at RightSourcingUSA.com. There is an area if you want to be a vendor for RightSourcing. You're going to fill out a little form. It's going to get sent over to the supplier partnership team. They will reach out and communicate. We have an extensive database. Really, really proud of the work that we do. And I would just like to say an absolute thank you to everybody on this podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I'm just very grateful and very thankful that RightSourcing and AHSA, as much as we are friendly competitors, there's good feelings back and forth as well.
I completely agree with that. This was really, really awesome. And I second what Beth said. Super appreciate you having me. And, if you want us for a sequel, I think we're game.
I'm going to take you up on that. John Vieb, you agree?
Yeah. Oh, of course. I was going to actually probably Teams you immediately after this, being like, I'm back.
Okay, so we're going to have both Josh and Beth back for another follow-up episode, because we had so many more things we could have just dived deep into. But
Absolutely.
If you're in healthcare staffing, you're looking to scale or grow your business, look for opportunities, please reach out to Josh, reach out to Beth, let them fight over you, and come to them with your unique value proposition, what you absolutely do best at, what you focus on. And if they don't have a client that you can help service now, certainly they will in the future. Look at these two, very bright, and I know a lot of companies seek after their services. So please reach out to Beth and Josh, and let's grow in 2025.
Here, and remember, don't forget to communicate, okay? Because that's how we build what? Trust in a relationship. I know Beth is going to be all over this. All right, so don't forget that. Also, transparency is key. All right, be willing to engage. Make sure you have decent and good, smooth delivery, and come to the table with a solution for both Beth and Josh. But also, don't forget to recover brilliantly.
It's great. Love it.
Love it.
All right. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Beth. We'll see you next time.
Thank you both.
Hey, thanks for watching today's episode. This episode is sponsored by Staffing Referrals. We have relied on staffing referrals for years to turn satisfied associates into brand ambassadors, keeping quality talent coming in and lift retention. See what it can do for you at staffingreferrals.com or click on the link in the description. Thanks for watching.